Welcome to this video where I'm going to talk about a sketchbook I made over the period of about a month, mainly travelling about in Europe, in Belgium, France and Germany. Here are the first pages. It's always a bit difficult to know how to start your sketchbook. This one's a bit scrappy, there's a bit of writing and also a little sketch on the other side. This was a drawing of some of the old houses by the river in Ghent. I stopped doing it when the sun came round and intended to go back, but they never did. This was a very pretty little flower shop just out of the centre of Ghent. I've got a drawing for my hotel room and a card from one of the cafes I visited. This is still in Ghent, but at the old docks where there are lots of old cranes. I feel like some of it works, some of it doesn't. I quite like some of the foreground areas. Maybe the crane should have been a bit bigger in comparison. This was an old abbey we went to. It was quite a hot day, so it was really nice to sit in the shade and draw some of the building which was being restored, and there was lovely garden area too, and that's my little drink of apple juice. So here are some more of the very beautiful buildings. They were full of decoration. This was one building that I wanted to draw. It was quite a new one. It was a city pavilion, and I wanted to show the difference between the sort of old architecture and the new. Here's a few more details. One of the bells which is in a tower. Some details of the town hall building, some ironwork, and then also a view across the bridge from the youth hostel where we took shelter. Part of the trip I moved on to Paris, and if you'd like to see more about the actual trip itself, there are two vlogs, one about the French and Belgian part and one about the German part. I'll put links below. But this was a view, we found it as like an Instagrammable view of the Eiffel Tower through the buildings. Obviously this very busy bit at the bottom. This is at the shop, well, big store, Galerie Lafayette. They have this really beautiful domed roof, glass domed roof, and then also looking across from their restaurant window outside. This was, we went to see Victor Hugo's apartment where he lived, and these were the archways near there, and some of the perfume little cards I got from Bon Marché. I had a sort of slim view of Paris through my window, so I just kept that in the composition for the drawing. And these were just some little sketches near the metro entrance, and some people guarding one of the doorways near the Hotel de Ville. This was a very quick sketch on the last morning in Paris before heading off to Nantes. Some of the people walking around, just sitting in a cafe looking across the road. This is the first sketch in Nantes. I went for a walk and tried to find a bit of nature to draw, so quite enjoyed sitting by the river doing this one. I was in Nantes for the Urban Sketchers meet-up there, and here are a couple of places on the itinerary. The Japanese garden, which was very lovely, where we all met up one day, and also a view across the river towards the little village that I later went on to draw. So this part here was called Le Machine d'Ile, and it was a little area where they'd built on the docks, and I I've got here one of this giant mechanical elephant which people could go riding on. Managed to do a quick drawing of there. Also a cafe we went to which was really highly decorated. Lots of tiles and things like that, and also a drawing from the bus stop. This is another one of the things at the machine de Ile, sort of like a big sort of steampunk type roundabout carousel type thing, sort of really high up. Here we have back in the city, and I met up with Margot, one of the other urban sketchers, to sort of show her how I approach a drawing. So it's quite simple, trying to use the paper, the white paper, to help you show the buildings there and sort of show the circulariness of them. This was an old sort of arcade where we went, also handy because it was raining some of the time. And then also the little village I talked about called Trondmud, they had lots of really nice little cottages there, all very bright colours, and this was one I chose to draw. This was a view of the chateau, which is right in the heart of the city. I sat with Marta, who was one of the sort of local sketchers, or lived in a town nearby, and we sat and chatted and tried to do the same view. There was a lot of rain at the time, so that was it's got quite wet. You can see the stains on it from that. Here we are at the station. There was a big bridge going across the station which was covered, and it was one of the venues for everybody to go and draw. It's quite an unusual thing to do, so I quite enjoyed doing that. It's my final one from Nantes before moving on to Erlangen in Germany. This was the cathedral, back of the cathedral. So now moving on to Erlangen in Germany. This was called the Grey Penance Memorial, commemorating the victims of Nazi killings that happened in the city. And here we have lots of the sort of houses that are in the city. They were very, to look into me, like sort of fairy tale cottages. It was all very low rise. There wasn't many really modern buildings. The sort of rooftops were quite interesting. We got taken on a few trips, and this was to the Nurenburg Rally Grounds. I'll put the link to the people that took us on the tour below, because it was an interesting thing to do. Obviously, so much history there, so many like awful things that came from it. It was a very beautiful place now, and the sort of nature has taken over, but I wanted to put writing over the top because I felt I couldn't just leave it as a drawing because of all the sort of memories and the history that had happened there. It was a huge area, like a huge big park, like a huge site. Here we are back in, this is still in Nuremberg, but in the centre. We went for a drink and I drew one of the sort of the tops of one of the houses, and then we also went to Bamberg, which is a really pretty little town. This was looking through an archway, and another grand building in Bamberg which was like really highly decorated. This was a very quick sketch. I thought this was a pretzel bag, but I thought the colours were really nice, so I put that in. I ran out of paper when I was in Erlangen. Had a go at drawing this orangey which was in the park, but that got washed out. The paper I used isn't the same as in the sketchbook, so it's not as good quality, but I wanted to keep everything together. These are little sketches I did because I gave a workshop in the Botanic Gardens, so there's some little examples here. And also this was a little demo I gave to show people the sort of way I go about starting a sketch. This was the urban sketching village, which we had these really lovely chairs and big umbrellas, and everyone was sitting drawing late into the evening. This was on the sketch calls. The first time I did it I got rained off, so I went back and had another little go at it. Some bins. And then at the back of the book I put a little envelope to put some of the cards and things I collected along the way. This is a drawing by Pfizer, who I met. I'll put her link below to her Instagram. Some maps, some little things from the museum, one of Richard Briggs's postcards. I also met Tommy Kane when I was there. That was from Amelia, the postcards, and a little map. It's nice to keep the little bits and pieces together that you pick up on the way. I also got lots of stickers. These ones at the top here were from Rob Sketcherman, who's from Urban Sketches in Hong Kong. Then there was one from the Comic Salon, one from Tommy Kane, who I mentioned. He's one of the urban sketchers I followed for quite a long time, so it was really nice to meet him in person. As I mentioned earlier in the video, there are 2 vlogs which I made, one from the French and Belgian part of the trip and one from the German part of the trip. So if you want to find out more or look at some of the places I drew, I'll put the links below as well. There's going to be quite a lot of links below. Thank you for watching.